I would assume that it helps to have a complex language machine when you're talking about subjects like what happens to us after we die, because that right there is a profoundly complex subject.
Really? It sounds to me like that's not a subject even worth or capable of being talked about. Any
Exactly.
idiot could talk about that. I have absolutely no. Do you know anybody who has any knowledge at all of whatever there may or may not be after one dies?
The reason why I say it's good to have a complex language is because ask any Christian, they'll simplify it for you real quick.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's why you should go to heaven or hell. It's
So
real simple. Burn forever. Heathen. Yeah.
Perhaps someone with a near-death experience.
Well, that's a near-death experience. That's not what happens after you die. That's what happens when you get real close to dying or sort of die but don't die.
they just had a DMT trip, that's all.
That's right, yeah. The question of what's going to happen after I die strikes me that the real issue there is the nature of this thing called I. Is there even any such thing as an I to go on? I mean, if there's no I here now, then dying isn't going to make any difference. I mean, if we don't even understand the nature of self to begin with, the great mystery as far as I'm concerned, then talk about life after death or fuck life, during life is sort of insane until we straighten out just what the hell we mean by the word I.
With implications of our interconnectivity and the oneness.
Well, whose? I mean, that's the end. The fact that you say my interconnectivity. Who is this I that has this interconnectivity?
And don't even go to the interconnectivity.
Yeah, well, we'll take an interconnectivity. Yes. Yeah, I is merely a way of thinking. Watts deals with it pretty well. He talks about it has the same reality as an inch or a pound or a degree of longitude or something. It's a way of thinking that gives, that's sort of helpful, but there's no thing there. There isn't any such thing as an inch somewhere. And there's no such thing as a self. It's just there are these sort of patterns of behavior that are recurrent and continuing, just like a whirlpool in a river. You can go there day after day and see that same whirlpool, but there isn't any whirlpool. There's no thing there. The water comes in at the top and goes out at the bottom, and the structure continues, but there's no stuff that is the whirlpool except at the particular moment, But it just comes in the top, goes out the bottom, endlessly. Well, as long as the rocks are arranged right and the current is right, and then if some of those change, then the whirlpool disappears. But what's lost? There's nothing. The whirlpool's gone, but nothing was lost. It just changed its, the energy shapes changed. Nothing is lost.
See, I can't help but think that what you're saying right there has implications of a surpassing of consciousness beyond the biological.
Well, if you want to think that, that's fine. And then if you can make any sense out of that, if you can figure out a way to do that, that would be even better. Yeah, I agree with you. There's all sorts of implications to all sorts of things, but trying to say them in a way that actually makes sense and leads to information that can be shared reliably with, well, again, we're not there yet. I assert, as a species, we have not yet developed a technology of consciousness, but I think we're close. I think we will in the next couple of decades probably have something like pretty much like a technology of consciousness that will give us as much control over our consciousness, whatever that means, as we do over electricity right now. I mean, we still don't know anything about it. We don't know what electricity really is, but we actually know how to make it do cool stuff, like we can talk on TeamSpeak. That's cool. So having a technology of electricity really turned out to be handy. And if we had a technology of consciousness, ooh, now that sounds like that could be real interesting.